So on day 2, we were up very early, and buses left the campground for downtown New Orleans.
And my daughter and I were talking.
Young Love.
She was telling me about her work.
The first video's up already.
Different things.
Great.
Finally,
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There we go. Everybody sobered up from last night.
Are you kidding? Good morning.
Good morning for another day.
Hey,
Morning, y'all.
where y'all from?
Georgia.
Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Georgia Peach.
That's right.
And on the way, we did a tour of the various neighborhoods of New Orleans.
In New Orleans. When she died, she was determined to have a party. So they waked her, sitting on a cast iron bench with a glass of champagne in one hand, a cigarette and a cigarette holder on the other hand.
And we saw some of the homes and the mansions.
System of granulating sugar. This is also the site of the 1884 World Cotton Exposition. On the left-hand side, that's Audubon Place, the wealthiest street in New Orleans. That house belongs to Tulane University, used to belong to Samuel Z. Murray, United Fruit. Number 18 down the street is Mrs. Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints. The second house on this side, Camellia Brand Red Beans. The house here on the corner, the Glazers. Glazer Steel, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Manchester United. On the right-hand side, the Burger Home. Dylan Burger. You ought to see them at Halloween. She said I looked at her and told her she couldn't be further from the truth. I'm not marrying him for his money. I'm marrying him for your jewelry, she said.
And also some of the damage that Katrina created. One of the things that people thought was that the levees broke and that's what flooded New Orleans, but Katrina was basically a windstorm. Most of the water damage was caused by the failing of the floodgates that were operated by the Army Corps of Engineers. So the Army Corps of Engineers is now responsible for their work like any other contractor.
And unfortunately for the New Orleans, their flood insurance is expected to go sky high, and feel kind of sorry for them in that regard.
Yeah, and a lot of destruction, but a lot of things are being rebuilt, and people care about their properties, and they're rebuilding them. After that part of the morning tour, we were able to stop at the at a Café Dumont, famous Café Dumont for coffee and beignets, those famous little donuts. So John,
We're at Cafe Dumont.
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 And we're having
not French.
beignets.
Somewhere to eat.
He's always on me.
Beignets. Let's see how you do. Don't get any of that sugar on your shirt now.
It's hot. Oh, yeah.
It's good, huh? So I'm here with Rosie.
Yeah.
Josh.
And Josh. And they're our drivers of our New Orleans tour. And this is your first day on the job?
Yeah, first day on the
license
job.
last week.
Yeah.
You got your license last week?
Yep.
Yep.
Well, I noticed you grabbed that curb over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I drive a 42-footer, so I understand. I understand. Things go bump in the night. So, tell us a little bit about why you do what you do, and do you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah, I love it. I don't like the job at all. I love it.
What's the most interesting thing about your job?
Meeting people.
Meeting people.
Yep.
How about you, Josh?
Yeah, I love it too. It's nice, having not being in an office, seeing the scenery change all the time, meeting all the new people.
You think you know the city well now?
Yeah, pretty well, I'd say. Get around all right.
Anyway, well, good. We'll see you on the road.
You too.
All righty.
After we had the beignets, we were at a museum, outdoor museum, which was a art park. Very, very interesting and unusual.
Yeah, it was outside of a beautiful park there. They had the New Orleans Art Museum. They had some sculptures that were donated that started around all of that museum area, privately owned. There were a lot of modern art. There was also throwback to some sculptures, you know, with faces and goddesses and what have you, done by modern artists too. So it was fascinating. And the surrounding gardens, and there were, you know, swan boats and the gondola that people can rent. I mean, this park had everything, had carousels and things for kids. I really would love to go back there someday.
And it's free. It's free. All funded privately, and it's free. And also in the park there were some very interesting live oaks. These are huge trees. Amazingly how long they grow and how high they grow and how intricate they are. And that was interesting to see.
And if I were a kid again, I would be climbing those. They were awesome.
And then we spent a significant amount of time at the cemeteries. There are 40 cemeteries in New Orleans. In New Orleans there are many cemeteries, and we're at St. Louis 3 and just had a wonderful tour by our tour guide Linda. And I'm going to put a little bit of it in this video, but I think that because it was so interesting and so long that I may do a separate video.
There's lots of interesting stuff. I want to come back and learn all about the angels and the torches and all of that symbolism for the grave sites and actually tell the story about everything. And believe me, there's no ghost. It's just environmental consequences. Tell you more about that later.
And they are huge, and they are extremely interesting with their architecture and the tombs and the monuments. They're all above ground, obviously, because they're below sea level here. We're going to have a little bit about that here in this video, but I'm also going to create a special video about the cemeteries because Linda explained it so well. I think it deserves its own time for those that are interested in that culture.
And after that, maybe a lot of you won't be so afraid to venture out and go through those tombs anymore.
Yeah, they were really, it was interesting. The last time we were here in New Orleans, they were closed because of COVID. Most of them are controlled by the Catholic Church, and but now they're open and we were able to see it. We then continued on our tour, and we went down a lot of the neighborhoods and saw a lot of the mansions and the beautiful homes that are. And they're complaining about their prices. Oh my God, these houses are $500,000.
Oh, a million plus, you know, in some of them.
You know, but where we live, some of those $500,000 homes would be $1.5 million, $2 million.
Or more.
But they said, well, they were only a couple $100,000 a few years ago, but they've gone up in price. So we went down St. Charles Street, St. Charles Avenue, which is the main residential drag, and it's also the main road of the parades, and we saw a lot of the houses and the preparations made for the parades that are going to be going through, and there'll be more of that as we attend
and
those.
People really decorate with beads and beads in the trees, and she just said that was just the very start of it. So it's kind of like what we did as a kid in paper toweling or putting toilet paper in the trees. They do that with beads here.
Yeah, it's
all in fun.
Very colorful, very festive, and the New Orleans really love to have a party. We then continued on and we went to the Vieux Caire, the old part of town, French
Glad
Quarter.
you're pronouncing that.
Huh?
Glad you're pronouncing that.
Yeah, Vieux Caire, I think it is. Anyway, the old town. And we had to walk in a couple of blocks.
They
Yeah.
just opened up. They just reopened.
Good.
Yeah.
Did they not work?
Yes, sir.
Luckily, we're avoiding that crowd. Omni Hotel, because inside there was a. Oh, yeah. Just in case.
And we had lunch at the Court of the Two Sisters.
Ah, you go there with an appetite. It's within this little central garden court. I mean, it is awesome. Inside of that, you would not know you're in the French Quarter or in New Orleans. It's just really sweet.
I'm gonna make my way to the front anyway.
There was a beautiful jazz band with a cello and I can't remember the other banjos,
and a
but
bass.
they were really good and they weren't overly noisy. We could still have a conversation and tell me, lots of good food.
Great brunch, eggs Benedict, and you could have custom-made omelets. It was a huge salad bar.
You want the meat?
I want the meat and the
Holiday.
lots of holly.
And the full shake there, I remember you now.
You remember? You got a good memory.
They remember the holla.
Oh yeah, look how pretty that is.
Ooh,
Hey.
baby.
Thank you,
I
thank you.
never get tonight.
Duck l'orange. Oh my God.
And etouffee, and all the traditional gumbo and dishes of New Orleans, and all you could eat, and great desserts, which I skipped the desserts on this time around.
He had it in the morning.
So that brought us to about 1:30 in the afternoon, and we had a couple hours of free time and to walk around, and we did walk down Bourbon Street, just a couple of blocks, just to say that we were on Bourbon Street. Nothing much to see there until it really starts to get going in the evening.
And something uncharacteristic for me, I made him go back to go do some shopping. Got a beautiful sweater and a coat.
Yeah, and we stopped in some art galleries and saw some interesting art.
Good
And
artists here.
made our way to the meetup point to get the bus. Buses back to the campground, and we were back about 3 o'clock. So that was the day, and at 6:30 we are leaving again to go back into the city, and we are going to see a couple of parades tonight, and we'll be talking about that very shortly.
Are we done for now?
We're done for the moment.
Okay.
Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll know when the next video is posted.